what's up, man? We back again with another one on this good Saturday. Now, the NFL draft is in less than 2 weeks. And look, I've been talking a lot of basketball on this channel lately, but that's only because football ain't been here yet. And once football starts, oh, baby, there's going to be a lot of football talk. So, let's talk a little bit of the NFL draft a little bit, especially the quarterbacks. Now, Trevor Lawrence is head and shoulders above everybody under him, honestly. Like, Trevor Lawrence is here, and then everybody else is like up and down, right? So, let's start with Justin Fields. I don't understand why his draft stock has been going down even after the season. Like 2-3 weeks or months after the season, and each day it's Mac Jones at number 2, and now it's Zach Wilson at number 2, and then it's Trey Lance above him. And I'm like, well, goddamn, what did Justin Fields do that was so bad that made him drop from 2 to 5? I mean, honestly, Justin Fields Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields had been 1 and 2 since they've been in college, honestly. Like, they were at the top of their class out of high school. And Trevor Lawrence came in year 1, won a championship, went undefeated. So, they were speaking about him going number 1 after his freshman year. And I think Justin Fields transferred from another school. I forget what school he was, but he transferred from another school and went to Ohio State. Balled out. I mean, look, honestly, I didn't watch too many of the bad games that he had, but I had to I assumed that they spoke about it, had to go back and look at it or whatever in terms of stats. But in terms of most of his season, I think he had a really good season. Outside of that Alabama signing that he had, which of course, he didn't play too bad. It was just that Alabama was just too much for him. I think that Alabama team was just too overpowered. They probably got 5 or 6 first round draft picks on that team. That team was just overmatched. So, I think Justin Fields should be number 2, and I don't know, but Zach Wilson. Don't know much about Zach Wilson. Well, he's from BYU. I didn't really hear any buzz around him during the season, except for probably toward the end of the season or whatever. But I don't know too much about him. And from the looks of things, there's a lot of analysts that really don't know, that really haven't seen him a lot either. But they speak about the lack of competition he played against, and they speak about the losses that he had. And I'm like, look, I don't know anything about Zach Wilson for me to know. I've seen that he had a crazy pro day, but I think honestly the pro day is overrated. The only thing, in terms of the quarterbacks, I think a quarterback's pro day is overrated because, for one, they're throwing in t-shirt and shorts, which of course that's fine, but you're in a conference of your own building, and there's no pressure. Now, I do believe that the combine in Indianapolis, I think that's pressure, because you're not only performing in front of of the NFL world, you're performing in front of everybody that's there, in front of all the other quarterbacks that gotta be there. So there's probably 20 to 30 quarterbacks at a combine, and you don't want that quarterback in front of you to show you up. So I think that's a lot of pressure. But in terms of Zach Wilson, don't know much about him. Trey Lance, know very little about him. I think I know very little of him more than I do Zach Wilson. But honestly, I've seen Trey Lance on YouTube. Like, I haven't watched him during the season, so I mean, I honestly didn't even look at his pro day, but I heard that he ran like a 4.5 or a 4.6 or something like that. Like, I know that he's fast, he's quick, and he played 1 year, and then he opted out. I think he opted out this season's past. He opted out. So a lot of people only really know him for last season, in which I think they won the championship. And it's kind of crazy because he's from the same college as Carson Wilson, or as Carson Wentz. And I think those two, Zach Wilson and Trey Lance, are very, very interesting. Honestly, what they're 3-4 or 2-3. I don't know, but Matt Jones is really interesting. I've seen, that the 49ers traded up to move up to have the third pick in the draft, and a lot of people is talking about Matt Jones. And honestly, I think the 49ers should look at Justin Fields, just because they run that West Coast offense in which they do a lot of motion, and they even have their receivers run the ball. They always have two running backs that run the ball, and I'm thinking, okay, well, y'all even had Jimmy Garoppolo run the ball a few times. Y'all had him run the option, and I'm like, what better person to draft to run the option than Justin Fields? I mean, look, Justin Fields is the fastest quarterback in this draft. I mean, I think he's probably the third or fourth, in terms of accuracy. But I think, honestly, for them to have the West Coast offense, I think Justin Fields would fit that offense perfectly. Because you're not going to know where the running is coming from. Like, and what better person to have to run a West Coast offense than a running quarterback? But I heard of Mac Jones. Now, Mac Jones has been really good. Well, he was really good this year. But a lot of people are concerned because he had so good of an offense. He literally had two receivers that are literally about to be top 10, top 15 draft picks. Both of them. And he also has a running back that is more likely probably going to be the first running back picked up. So, and then he had a hell of an offensive line, and he had a very good defense. So, Matt Jones is really interesting. Now, my question for me, because I'm a Patriots fan, are the Patriots going to move up in the draft to draft one of these quarterbacks? Now, I'm hearing them talking about Matt Jones as well. So, the 49ers, I'm sure that the 49ers are going to drop the quarterback. I'm sure Atlanta may drop the quarterback. I know, we all know that Trevor Lawrence is going to be a Jaguar. We all know that. Question is, how good of a player he's going to be in the next 2 to 3 years. Because these quarterbacks are, they're not head and shoulders ready in terms of to be a starter. But honestly, a lot of people said the same thing about Justin Herbert, and we witnessed what happened last year. So we never know. I think it all depends on where these quarterbacks is drafted. Because honestly, if I had to bet money, I would believe that Justin Fields should be the second quarterback picked up. But a lot of people are talking about Zach Wilson being that second quarterback. So I don't know, but I'm excited for the draft, and this is probably one of the most packed classes in terms of quarterback. But what's even more packed in terms of draft class is the receiver position. I'm gonna talk about the receivers in the next video. But yeah, I can't wait because the draft is in the last Thursday of this month. So less than 2 weeks. Can't wait.